Mariners.
Mariners.
They were 2-1 against Miami,
Yep.
but they
Yeah.
had Texas in there too, right?
If we're thinking of it like Monday to Sunday, the previous Monday to Sunday was Padres and Angels, and then this current Monday to Sunday is Marlins White Sox. Just crazy. They had a lot of days off. They had a day off
Mm-hmm.
before Texas, then before San Diego, then before Anaheim. They went straight into the Marlins series, but they get a day off before the White Sox and a day off after the White Sox. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days off. Crazy. That's really uncommon this time of year. Feels like.
Seattle Storm. Two and 6. When was our last? Our last broadcast. The
Uh.
7th.
Oh yeah. Because it's Thursday. Would have been the 6th. You probably posted it on the 7th.
Hmm.
Oh, are we live? Yeah, we are live. This is. We're such professionals.
Recording in progress.
We're such professionals. I haven't looked at EPL at all. Can you carry Man City?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the Le Mans NASCAR thing?
You didn't know about that?
Uh-uh.
So
Save
Garage
it.
56.
Save
Garage.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. It's fucking amazing. Yeah. Fucking amazing. It was so cool. 2-1 last week. Playing. Uh,
Oops. What the? Do you want me to grab some chat GPTs for random?
yeah.
Hmm. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm asking ChatGPT to like pick a random topic and it's like renewable energy. It's like, nah, it's a little too academic for me tonight. Pick a different one. Okay, space exploration. Like, stop it. Artificial intelligence and healthcare. Stop it. Sustainable agriculture. Let's see. How about something you could discuss with an 8th grader? How? Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
You got any other rando or hey, what you got?
I'm digging through GPT now. I've got a random. How do you want to talk about basketball, or should we wait until Brian's back?
Which one?
I've got a random question. I was talking to Kaylee the other day, and she asked kind of interesting question, so I was gonna pose it to Brian. You want me to hit you with it?
Sure. We can always ask Brian when he comes back.
Yeah. We're gonna need a rando, aren't we?
That's a chat GTP.
It gives me the same responses every time. Like maybe I'm not using it right. My God. Yeah, I'm good. Oh, that's a good one.
What's that?
Just what makes you cry.
Well, God.
Ooh.
Moana.
Really? I need a good cry. I was gonna pick
it.
something tonight just to
Fucking Moana, man.
just to do it.
When the grandma dies.
Oh, spoiler alert! Holy shit!
Have you not seen it?
No.
2 years ago, it was in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah, Curtis. It took a minute last night and was telling me he really enjoys listening to us. That was a nice compliment. Yeah. All right, I got a couple randos. You got a would you rather?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could probably hit it. We probably won't get to the full hour, but I think you and I can fill time pretty good. Ready to hit?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, have you ever... Okay, is my camera going to pick this up? Can you see this like rubber sippy lid
that's cool.
in the Nalgene?
Prevents the splash forward on your face.
Yeah, it's like when you're driving, you don't...
See my...
Oh...
I like the top.
Yeah, they'll grow on me, I'm sure. They're going to wear them tomorrow. It's home Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What is going on, sport fans? Welcome into episode 33 of the P Cubed podcast. My name is Thomas Barrett. I am here with my good buddy, Nathan Hall. Without Brian this week, a little bit of a scheduling conflict, so you'll just have to deal with us too. We're so glad that you're here hanging out with us while we have our weekly look at the Seattle sports landscape. Just two idiots today having a chat, so we desperately need your help. I mean, for those of you watching on YouTube, Jesus, you should see what Nate's doing. We need your help desperately. Please keep us in line. Send your feedback in, p3sportspod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your comments, suggestions, ideas for segments, random questions. We love them. Send them our way. You can find the pod on Apple, Spotify, and iHeart. You can tweet us at P3SportsPod, or you can join us live on YouTube while we record at P3SportsPod on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free and easy, and it helps us out. And you can be notified when we go live or when we post up the weekly pod. With all that housekeeping out of the way, grab a bev and buckle up. Nate, what do we got? What do we got? What have we got? What do we have on the agenda this week, my friend?
What's the going on we have?
What's the going on we have? Ooh, I'm gonna. Okay. What are the goings on? How should this read?
What are the goings on? How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
What's the haps?
I got a real stressful time at work, so unfortunately, it's kind of bleeding into a lot of other areas of life. But these things happen. It's all manageable, so I'm doing all right. How you doing?
You do a good job not bringing it to the softball field.
Oh, I think I was pretty sour last night.
I didn't notice.
That's well, I think we were all pretty sour.
No Brian. So we're going to do our normal around sound. Going to touch on Mariners, Sounders, Sons of Pitches, no sportspredictions.net. Get a couple, hey, what you got? Some closing questions from ChatGTP. Who would you rather? And we'll close it out. I think we're going to do a pretty fun episode today.
Yeah, keep it pretty cash.
Yeah. So around the sound. Nothing cracking with the Kraken.
You're never going to give that one up. Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple weeks now. There hasn't been too much going on. I mean, we're in the off season. Hockey does not have a particularly long off season. In fact, I heard today the Coachella Firebirds are still in their series.
Mm-hmm.
So even though the Lord Stanley's Cup was closed out last night, like the minor leagues are still playing. It's so crazy how long the hockey season is. Anyway, for those of you that didn't see, congratulations to the Golden Knights. They whomped
business.
the other South Florida team. It was 9-3, I think, in Game 5 last night, and closed it out and got their cup. So congrats to them. As far as the Kraken go, no news. It's not a particularly busy time of the offseason, but just for some dates on your calendar and some context, the draft is in 2 weeks. It's a 2-night draft starting Wednesday, June 28th. And then free agency will start shortly thereafter, July 1st. So my best guess is you're going to have a couple of quiet weeks here leading up to a flurry of activity. So we'll be ready.
Hopefully an ad or two. Should be fun.
Yeah.
Let's keep the theme going. Nothing hawking with the Seahawks.
Nothing hawking?
I don't know.
That's pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
So
I can,
in a really similar way. As of literally today, recording on a Thursday night, June 15th, all of the early off-season stuff is over, and they gone fishing.
Yeah, it's a nice quiet time for this NFL. It's like the only quiet time for the NFL. So
literally, there's always something going on, except for like the next 6 weeks when everyone goes on vacation.
Yep.
You got anything you want to touch? I know I've been trying to kind of keep it at the front of my mind, just because I've been trying to kind of digest all the little interviews and press conferences and stuff, because I'm getting pretty hyped. You got anything you want to touch, or you just want to leave it alone until we get some more actual like newsy news?
Julian Love has a family connection to Paseo. Found that out in an interview.
Interesting.
That's it. That's all I got.
Fascinating stuff. You heard it here, probably not first.
All right, Seattle Mariners. They were 1-1 versus San Diego, 1-2 versus Anaheim, and they actually won a series against Miami. Got the White Sox coming in over the weekend. Got an off day today and an off day after the White Sox series. So
it's a weird little pocket in the schedule where they're consistently having days off between their series, which seems to have done some good. They had a day off going into the Texas series a couple of weeks ago, and that did not do them any good. But the 2 against the Padres on the road in San Diego, and the 3 against the Angels on the road in Anaheim, they started to look a little bit better. You started to see some competitive at-bats all the way through the lineup, and you got a good result in a couple of those games, even though you went 2-3 across those 5. And you came home against a decent Marlins team that doesn't have a ton of great numbers, but has been fighting and putting up some good games. You came out Monday and Tuesday, and you looked like we wanted you to look going into the season. Pitchers. Yeah, against some good arms. So we'll see what they can do against the White Sox. You got to get at least these probably 2 of these. It's a team that's struggling, and you got to kick them while they're down. But more than anything, Nate, I know the thing I've really been thumping the desk about so far in the Mariners season. They're at or around 500 right now. It's dramatically different than where they were at this time last year. But they had fight in them last year, and they haven't shown us any of that consistency or any of that fight so far this year. So I'm really pleased to see the turnaround in the last 3 series. I think they're starting to get their groove a little bit.
I have some points to bring up. I have a retraction. Service has been 8 years manager, not 10. They've had 5 competitive years in that, because last week I was arguing about his service right. The 2016-2018 Mariners had 86 wins and 89 wins respectively, and that's right after that they blew it up. And so they've come back. They've had 2 90-win seasons in a row, right? So like right now the real cap is 90 wins, I would say that also. I don't know who's making the decision, but you feel like ownership may or may not have given them the flexibility on the payroll that they needed to go and sign somebody. And so maybe like Stanton carries a little bit of the fault there. I do think Dipoto does a good job. I just am not 100% convinced that Service is the manager to take them to the next step, next level, right? Still
I think,
questionable managerial decisions, you
yeah.
know.
Well, and that for me, that's what I want to point out. It's easy to look at some of the decisions he's made, like the micro decisions he's made that have, oh my God, if he wouldn't have made this one decision, this one game, like, oh my God, he's so bad. Like it's so easy to take those tiny little things and draw a big conclusion while ignoring the fact that, for the types of teams he's had for the last 2 years, I don't think you could disagree that he's done an exceptional job managing the culture in the clubhouse, which has been a big part of the success of the team on the field. And while I'm not a big fan of how they've had like a really metric centric focus on how they use their bullpen, it has really yielded good results over the last couple of years. I think you are seeing a bit of a regression to the mean on some of that decision making this season, so I want to see them adjust. The jury's out. I like to try to not draw conclusions about things people can't do just because they haven't done them yet. But I kind of feel the same way about Jerry. You listen to him in interviews and some of like the long form stuff he does, and it's so easy for him to articulate the point that he's trying to make that you almost get lost, right? It's like anytime he opens his mouth, you agree with him because he does such a good job of explaining it. And so you always feel like he's doing a good job, but he's never built a team that's gotten over that hump. And can he? Does he know how to go out and get that one guy that's going to push you over the edge? We'll find out.
Or does he want to? So I was looking at what it might take to get to the playoffs this year, and it looks like 91 wins, right? They are currently on pace for 80, being one game under right now. So they need to find 11 wins, right? So that's throughout the rest of the season. That's 2 out of every 3. That's winning almost every series. And listening to a lot of fans, it feels like they're expecting them to do another 14-game winning streak.
Yeah.
And
like,
I
no problem. Just 14 in a row.
Yeah, that's really hard to live up to.
I mean, the A's can win 7 in a row.
Yeah. Okay, great. Win 7, but don't, lose the 10 in a row, and they avoided last year, which was great.
You went 6-1 against the A's and the Pirates, and then you shit the bed against the Yankees and Rangers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you over that like 16 game span, you ended up going 8-8, even though you started 6-1 or something like that.
And so it got me thinking, and then I was listening to Chuck and Buck, and Chuck had a really good point of saying it seems like Jerry makes decisions that they have to go exactly right for it to be successful. There's no wiggle room. And, like the Colton Wong thing and the AJ Pollock thing. And, the nice thing is that Kellenick is an everyday player now, right? And
he gets out of the slump.
Well, yeah. And so it's really hard when everything has to go perfect to be able to win. It's not like they can absorb bad play, right? I mean, they were lucky and they found Caballero, and Teoscar's turned it on, and Julio's come around, and France is back to being France. Eugenio had 3 home runs robbed yesterday, so that's difficult. It's just frustrating because with this pitching staff, they should be able to bring in people. And a little teaser in the Would You Rather is going to talk a little bit about this, right?
Well, and it's funny. I mean, we mentioned a minute ago with the Marlins, like the Marlins are a really similar team where their offensive numbers are really bottom half in the National League, but their pitching numbers are top. And so I think they came in 39-30 or something. They came in with like the 3rd or 4th best record in the National League because they were putting good games together and taking advantage of the good pitching outings they were getting. And of course, that's one of the unpleasant points about the Mariners season so far is that they haven't been able to match their pitching with their hitting on any given night.
And so y'all were lamenting Teoscar. His OPS is up to 721.
Yep. Yeah,
Wanted
he's
to
been
point
hot
out-
the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, his last 30 games, he's had. I should have done the math earlier. He's had a 805 OPS, which is league average, right?
And still below his career average, but it's a significant uptick from where he's been April, May. So
Yeah.
Shannon Dreyer
last
did a
15 games, he's at 886 OPS.
in one of the pregame shows. Shannon had his like month by month career numbers, and it was like 500, 500, 900, 900, 900, 900. Like it was crazy how he can, or it's just how his career has gone, where he always just gets hot a couple months into the season and rides it. So,
And last 7 games, 859 OPS.
Yeah.
So,
well, you need it. You can't have the heart of your order. 4 out of the 5 guys in the heart of your order be in the top 5 in the league in strikeouts. That's not a sustainable way to reliably produce runs. You hit a lot of solo dingers. That's another thing that's changed over the last couple nights. We're seeing 2 and 3 run homers now instead of solo dingers.
Yeah.
So
Raleigh had one.
Yep. Yeah, I see a little uptick.
So we'll see. I don't think they're making the playoffs this year, and I have a hot take where I think they should leverage some of their high leverage relievers and bring in pieces for next year.
Yep.
Right.
And what time of year are relievers most valuable?
Trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to DFA Wong. I think you have to figure out something with Flexen. I think you have to cut Pollock and bring up young kids,
Yep.
or something, right? I think something has to change. They gotta jumpstart something. So
I agree. They got to shake it up. So yeah, so they're halfway through their week already. Nate, like you said, they're off tonight, Thursday. Then tomorrow for the weekend series, they kick it off against the White Sox. They come in kind of repeating what they did last year, just an immense amount of talent on the roster for a team that's really not performing well in a subpar division. So you got to abuse these guys. And I don't think you're going to see Cease either. I think you've got Giolito, Lynn, and one of their other starters, but I don't think you're going to see Cease. So you really got to put up some good numbers over the weekend and head out on the road to the Yankees after that, feeling good about yourself. Yeah. So we'll see if they're able to get it done.
Seattle Sounders. They had a 3-3 draw at Charlotte. Really encouraged about what I saw on offense. So Nico had an abductor injury, really convenient, was not playing. So Rusnak slotted into the number 10 and was very effective.
Nice.
Like probably the best Rusnak we've seen since the CCL run when Ladero was knocked around.
It's one of the things that you see sometimes is, a guy gets on the field because he's one of your best players, but you've got him in a role where he's not able to use his best skills. So if he's able to really make an impact in a role that typically would go to Ladero, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and you have watching the game, Ladera is very active still. His work rate is very high, but he's not effective. He's just running around. And he's still really good at drawing fouls. He isn't creating very many opportunities. But with him and Rusnak on the pitch, it really limits JP into that holding mid spot where you would have Goose or somebody where you need JP creating, right? You need him distributing. You need
That's a really interesting point.
Freedom. And so what we saw was, Rusnak in the 10 and JP they're allowed to be a little bit more free.
Yeah.
And you saw
playing more as an 8 and less of a 6.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly. And so yes, they did expose their back line, which I was complaining about, and yes, they gave up 2 really terrible goals.
Yeah.
Which were just defensive
It's a shame because you go into this game in Charlotte desperately needing to do something on offense, and Charlotte has been the worst defensive team in the league so far this year, so you really feel like it's a good matchup. And then one of the strengths that you have had of your own is your defense, and you just can't pull it together.
Rui was back, scored 2 goals, one sniper shot that from the left hand of the box, top right corner, which was amazing. And then he just had a typical Rui Diaz poached goal, right place, right time,
Love him.
and tap in. Reagan had a really nice set piece long ball to Christian, who just broke the back line and scored on it, which was really great to see. Christian adds to this team. He's really good. He knows his role. He knows spacing. He knows the field.
You
His
can play
brother
him
works really well with him.
You can play him at any of the 11 positions
Yeah.
on the field. By the way,
Yeah.
like I said it a couple weeks ago. I think he's getting close to best sounder ever territory.
Mhm. So Sounders have 10 days off. The other teams have 2 or 3 games in hand on them, so they're going to catch up to them a little bit.
Yep.
LAFC lost on Wednesday. They have another game Saturday, and then they come to Seattle, or we go to there on next Wednesday, the 21st.
Nice.
And you could put a little distance between them, and they'll still have one game in hand on us at that point. But it would be nice. They're coming off a really rough CONCACAF Champions League loss, and now they're in a stretch of 8 games in 4 weeks. So they're going to be doing some work rate management, and
Yep.
I really want to beat them, especially in their house. One other note that came out today that they're talking about renovating Memorial Stadium.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's privately funded, $150 million. They're going to make it a 10,000 seat stadium. And they're hoping to draw the OL Reign, and then also make it the Metro League stadium so that they can start broadcasting on TV for Metro League, which is pretty cool. Metro League is the high schools around Seattle area.
Cool.
And they're also hoping that the rugby team would make a home there as well. So I think that's really cool. It's a really cool location, having the Space Needle right above you, having the Jimi Hendrix Museum, or I guess they call it
It's
Mopop, or what do they call it now?
wasn't
Museum of Pop.
EMP.
It was EMP.
Hmm.
They changed it.
Hmm.
No, whatever.
It's interesting
Hendrix Museum to
how
me.
different we feel about the basketball arena going in at Seattle Center compared to how we feel about a renovation of Memorial. And maybe it's because it's already there; it's just kind of underutilized. But I agree. There's something about Memorial Stadium, going to Sounders games there in years past. I mean, there's something about it being a community hub that I think is really, really positive. So I think it's fantastic that they're getting something done to modernize it a little bit and make it more available for a lot of the teams in the area. It's pretty cool.
One of the best experiences, similar to Memorial, but going down to Starfire and watching the Timbers and Sounders Open Cup game.
Oh my God.
That place is so fun.
I remember, gosh, it was probably like 2011 maybe. It was before they realized they needed like ticket scanners.
Oh, the scan.
And so you could just like print as many copies of the one ticket that you bought and just like show it and get in. I remember they were playing Salt Lake, and I think you and I were sitting over on the short bleacher sides. There was like 4 rows of bleachers. There's probably like 80 people on this side of the field, and I was yelling so much shit at Beckerman, and he had a bad game that game. I was just riding his ass. Like the whole side of the stadium was quiet except for me yelling shit at Kyle Beckerman. I was so happy that day.
Yeah, that was fun.
Nice hair, Beckerman.
And then he cut it 10 years later.
By the way, did you know that he like made his pro debut at like 15 or 16?
Yeah.
So when he was like in his mid 30s, he was like coming in on 20 years as a professional.
Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, respect. Like I thoroughly enjoyed heckling the crap out of him that night, but respect.
The perceived old man who was probably only 30 at that point.
Yeah.
All right, Seattle Storm. They got 2 wins.
Hey.
2-1 last week. They are playing tonight against the Aces, who are handing it to them pretty hard. But yeah, it's nice to see that they got off to Schneid a little bit and got 2 wins. Brian's our resident basketball person, so I'm not going to talk a lot about the Storm.
Yeah, not too much analysis there, but Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's tough when you feel like it's going to be a long season, and then you start the season and it's not going well. So, like you said, glad to see him get off the schneid, get a couple wins, and get back to fighting.
Sons of Pitches softball.
Mm.
Well, we started 4-0.
Yeah, we did. We started 5-0.
Well, we started 5-0. And since we've gone 0-5.
Mm-hmm.
We are not hitting the ball well. We did a little better yesterday. We got 14 hits in the first game and scored 1 run. So we had really untimely hitting.
We had 14 hits?
Yeah.
Jeez.
14 runners on base and got 1 run.
That's not very good.
So we stranded 13, or we had double plays or something happen.
Yeah.
I know like I grounded into one of the double plays. And we also struggled on defense a little bit. We had people playing out of position. I played first base. I felt really good early, and then I twisted my knee, so I was kind of hobbled a little bit. Brian hurt his ankle, was hobbled a little bit, so I had to move over to second base.
He looked good at second, and Corey looked real good at short.
I think we're going to do some fun things. We're going to play speaker box next, and I think we're going to do a little bit of a modified rover look.
Cool.
With Bass, Chris, and Jake. And so have 3 outfielders with Cavan and right, and then have Russ at rover, and then Brian at second, playing like an extended out or extended infield. So we're going to take away like the intermediate hits from them and see if like they just start popping it up like they always do, and see if they beat us. I'm not going to be able to be there. I'm going to be in Berkeley, but I'm hoping that y'all try it out.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah. So we got 6 games left in the year. We need to probably go 4-2 to make the playoffs. I think we're playing one team that's really poor. Speaker boxes, they can hit it, but they are, if they are not hitting, they don't play well at all. They have defensive lapses. You can put it on them.
Yeah.
We just got to hit singles, and then we play Crush again. We'll see which Crush shows up. But we beat them 2 games early in the season, so
it's there for us. It's there for us to do. We just gotta get back to timely hitting. Yep.
All right. We'll be right back with sports. No, we won't be right back with sports predictions. There's no predicting with predictions. We'll be
there's
right
nothing.
back with,
there's nothing cracking.
Hey, what you got?
You're such a goof.
Predicting with predictions. That's funny. I forgot I wrote that.
Nothing predicting. Oh man.
You should go first.
Why? You've got more of them in there.
Think of a hey, what you got? Let's do the A's reverse boycott first.
Okay.
And give me one more. Give me one more. Hey,
yeah, give me a minute.
What's predicting with predictions? Ooh, I got another one.
You're gonna have to give me one of yours.
Taco Bell tacos?
I don't want to talk about Taco Bell.
Messi?
Yeah, maybe I grab Messi. What's the news on that? It's official. It's done.
It's done. We tweeted about it.
Did have we talked about that at all?
What?
I know I've talked about it, but oh no, I was talking about that with my parents. Oh yeah, okay. I can do Messi.
I'm pissed. I'll say my opinion.
Okay.
Cool.
And then you try lock it down with 2 at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, what you got? Hey, Thomas.
Yeah.
What you got?
Oh man, I got so much stuff. Holy crap. We're gonna be here for like days talking about it.
Days.
So yeah, just a baseball note. I'm sure many people may have seen it. It's kind of a national news. But the fans in Oakland the other night hosted what they called a reverse boycott for the A's. Often if you're not happy with something that's going on, you'll arrange a boycott where everyone doesn't go somewhere or doesn't do something. And in order to have a louder voice, the A's fans did the opposite. They packed this. Well, they didn't pack it, but stadium was about half full the other night, which is 4 or 5
like
times
20,000
more full than I was like somewhere between 28 and 30K. So yeah, tons of fans came out, and a lot of them, specifically the ones behind home plate that were going to be caught in the broadcast all night, had shirts that said "sell" on them. A lot of fans in the stands or along the edges, brought signs and stuff. And I feel for these fans in Oakland. I mean, the wheels have been in motion for some time, and I mean, they're one little pube hair away from losing their team. It's at this point, it's a foregone conclusion, and it's really too bad. It's a tale that we know too well. It's the wrong owner and the wrong government and a group of owners that don't care enough. So it's too bad. I'd love to see
parallels to the Sounders story.
To Sonics, yeah.
Sonic story, sorry, yeah.
Lessons that still hurt that we hopefully won't pay for in the end with the Sonics deal. I hope that baseball says, okay, fine, the team can go to Las Vegas, but you're a new team. You don't get any of the history. You don't get any of the records. You don't get any of the pennants. You don't get any of the banners, all that stuff. That stuff stays in Oakland. And if they never get another team ever again, it'll be in a museum in Oakland because it's theirs. I hope that type of precedent can start to get set, but it's too bad. I thought it was really, really an interesting method for a fan base to use to try to speak louder. It's unfortunate that it's too late in the game, but I thought it was pretty cool what they did. Did you get a chance to see that, Nate?
Yeah. Whenever things like this happen, it just shows that the leagues just don't care about the fans. Baseball did a unique thing at one point where they brokered deals with the Red Sox ownership, Expos ownership, and Marlins ownership to position owners in different places. I really wish MLB would step in and just say, we're going to expand to Vegas and Portland or something like that.
Yeah.
And Oakland is staying in Oakland, and you owner get the new Vegas franchise, and it'll take control of the A's like they did with the Expos, which they eventually had to move out. That was just a political thing, and that's fine. They tried, but get somebody in there that cares. Like, that's a big market. Like,
well, not only is it a big market, but it's a big market that's had all of their teams ripped from them. It's the only game left in town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Oakland's civic leadership has not done much, which I don't agree that the cities should be 100% responsible for the stadiums, but they should try and get creative. Like they got creative with Climate Pledge, right? They used the city's borrowing power in a privately funded situation. It's being paid back to the city, right?
The inactivity and the inattentiveness of local leadership can cause the problems like we saw, in 07, 08, 09 here in Seattle, where it's not the city's job to fund the thing, but you have to recognize the benefits. And so you have to be willing to get creative to connect the dots between the people that do have the money and do make the decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it just feels like the Sonics, and I feel for that area.
Same colors, man.
Yeah.
I just thought about that today. It's like the same feel, and it's the same color. It's cursed.
And I hope that MLB would do something, the right thing, but they would never do that because they don't want to piss off an owner. Right.
It's the last required step. I mean, the Vegas has done everything they needed to do politically. The Nevada governor today did what he needed to do. And so literally the last step is for MLB to approve it and make it official. So if there was a time for them to step in and say, you know what? Okay, thanks, Nevada, Las Vegas. Here's your new team. And dick brain owner, fine. You can own that team instead. We're taking control of these guys. They're not moving. Like, now is the time where that could happen. It's a really interesting point. I kind of forgotten about that historical precedent. I doubt that precedent will be considered relevant just because the economic and social times are so different now than they were even 30, 40 years ago. But
150 million, right? And the A's are probably worth $1 billion, right? I mean, that brand is historic.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I thought it was really cool. It was really loud in there. One of the pitchers actually had to step off because he couldn't hear the pitch meter thing. And the coordinated chants was pretty cool.
I thought it was funny. There's one specific replay that got played a lot over the last couple of days where they were, really loudly chanting, "Sell the team." And they started the chant while one of the opposing players was running to second base on a double. And I wonder if they were like waiting for someone to get an extra base hit that they knew would be like replayed on highlight reels so that the audio would just be replayed over and over again. Because like, what other reason would they have had to like in the random 5th inning or whatever to just like start doing shit? That was interesting. Hey Nate, what you got?
The UEFA Champions League final was last Saturday. Man City versus Inter. And Man City put up a goal. I think it was like in the 50th or 60th. I should have looked it up. I'm sorry. And really that, like you always say, goals change games.
Siggy says goals change games.
And
looks like it's in the 68th.
Yeah. And so Inter should have had 3 goals, right? They Lukaku had 2 just gimmies that just unfortunately didn't go in. One, he was actually in the way of a header at the ground, and it hit his leg, and like the goalie was standing there with his nuts in his hand, like no chance. But it hit Lukaku's leg and just bounced off. And then another one went off the top crossbar, and they turned it on. It was still a really great match. It was really fun to watch. It's always really fun to watch that quality of team play, both of them. And I kind of went down the rabbit hole of looking at like the Serie A teams, and I didn't realize Inter had so many trophies. Holy smokes, they're like at 35.
Yeah, I mean they don't have the Scudettos that Juve has, but they have been a big papa for a long time. Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
Man City achieved the treble, which is pretty cool. It's always a really nice achievement for any team. So they got their league championship. The England championship, whatever that is.
So they won the league, they won the domestic FA Cup, and they got the Continental. Wow, yeah. That's the classic treble.
Huge.
Yeah, good for them.
So they're still at the top of the heap. Pep is a genius,
and Holland is transcendent. He's unbelievable.
My mom was watching it with me, and she goes, "Oh, that guy looks Norwegian." And I was like, "Duh! Like, how did you pick that out? Like, he's a blonde, tall dude. Like most people are like Swedish or whatever." But yeah, funny.
Man, like watching his highlights, it's shocking some of the things that he's able to do. It's
isn't he like 22 or 23 still? Like he's pretty young.
I don't think he's that young, but he is quite young. But it's just, I mean, the things he's able to do against other people that are considered to be the absolute best at what they do, and he just walks right past them. It's unbelievable.
He is 22.
Oh, he is 22?
Jesus. July 21st.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice. Well, good for good for City.
Yeah. Hey Thomas, what you got?
A little bit of Seahawks stuff. I make mention of it a lot. I like to watch press conferences and kind of see what all's going on. Pete did about an hour on a podcast with Chris Kidd and Michael-Sean Dugar, and it was really interesting. Pete, for a long time, has been he's a white guy that's been leading black men for most of his career. And so I think a lot of his players always have a lot of respect and deference for the way that he carries himself and the way that he encourages others to carry himself. And so having him do kind of a longer form piece with those two guys, I thought was pretty cool. They touched on a little bit of that, touched on a little bit of background and some of the stuff he was doing in LA when he was coaching at SC, and just kind of talked a lot about some of the culture that he knew he wanted to bring to the Seahawks. And then they talked a little bit of kind of detailed kind of defensive secondary stuff for a little while too. So it was a really interesting listen. So look for that on I found it on YouTube. If we can hang on 1 second here, Nate, maybe you can cobble it together. Let me see if I can find it and shout him out. Do you know what their podcast is called? Seahawks Man to Man. Okay. So Chris Kidd and Michael-Sean Dugar, their podcast is Seahawks Man to Man. So you can actually just search Seahawks Man to Man on YouTube. It's called The Pete Carroll Conversation. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys do too. You should check it out. Hey, Nate, what you got?
I didn't hear anything you said.
Oh, it's fine. It was crap.
Oh, good. Okay.
You'll have a little bit of editing to do because I had to scramble while I looked for something, but we're all good. Hey, Nate, what you got?
Oh, hey. So Le Mans was this last weekend, and
24-hour?
24-hour Le Mans.
Dude, let's mention briefly, right? Because it's not a huge thing in America.
Actually, let's go backwards. Let's just start over. You're right.
This is a really important car race that's been going on. Okay.
We'll start over.
Hey Nate,
I'll let you introduce.
Hey Nate,
24-hour Le Mans.
Why?
Because you can talk about it. You know the historical context.
Oh, no, I barely.
Just talk about Le Mans just a little bit. Okay. So the 24-hour Le Mans was this last weekend, and Thomas, what do you think about
that? It's awesome. It's one of the rare sporting events that's totally unique. It's an endurance car race that is called the 24 Hours of Le Mans because it's a 24-hour race. You literally compete with other cars in your class to see how many laps you can finish in 24 hours. So, like, if your car breaks down, you got to fix it and then race again, right? And, if it takes you 2 hours to fix it, you might still be able to complete 22 more laps in 22 hours than the other guys did in 24. Like, every other type of car racing, like you look at Formula One and everything's down to the tenths and hundredths and qualifying, and it's fascinating in its own right. But the 24-hour endurance car race is just incredible. It's such an interesting, unique race, and it's considered by a lot of motorsports fans to be one of the most prestigious as well. It was a couple of years ago that I think Alonso took a race off in the middle of the F1 season to race this race. Like, that's big time.
Yeah, so a little context. They have 55 cars that race that in class. They have 3 different classes. Really, they have a prototype, race car class by manufacturers, and then they have a GTE class, which is like pretty much stock cars but souped up a little bit. And then they have, just like for fun things, right? And typically for the fun ones, they call it Garage 56 because it's not an official car that's racing, but they are allowed on the track to compete and kind of show off. And this year it was an anniversary. I think it was the 100th anniversary. They chose NASCAR as that Garage 56.
Really?
So NASCAR took one of their third gen cars, stripped it down 500 pounds lighter, put a bunch of really badass fairings on it to keep it on the ground, and they started doing qualifying, right? And so they're like, oh, there's no way, like it's too big, it's too heavy, they can't make the corners. So
Yeah, well, because if it's a third gen, I mean, this is donut only NASCAR, right? It's probably before they were racing on street circuits.
So yeah, so they modified the turning, they modified the suspension, they put headlights on it, all that kind of stuff. They started qualifying, they were 5 to 7 seconds faster than all the GTE cars.
Oh shit!
Yeah. They had a V8 like Chevy in there.
I love the idea that it's like a racetrack in France full of all this fancy shit and electrical cars, and then there's just like a NASCAR V8 out there. It's blah.
Wow. And so the GTE cars petitioned to have it start in the middle of the prototype, experimental cars and them. Mm-hmm. And the NASCAR was actually competing with some of the prototype cars. And so it was really fantastic. You saw them they put all the cars on the racetrack as for like a picture, and like you have all these tiny little itty bitty cars, and then you have this monster of a car like right in the middle of it. It's kind of like comical, and it was you'd hear all these cars rolling around the track. It's like and all of a sudden you're like down the track, and it was actually kind of badass. I really, just it's totally an American thing. It's like, man, our big block V8s out there like running around this classic race that has been dominated by all of these European car makers, and it was really quite fantastic. I really enjoyed seeing some of the highlights, and really got me like looking at Le Mans and how like the history of it, and the Ford versus Ferrari movie. I watched that, and it kind of got me just into like watching a lot about the race. And Jimmy Johnson was one of the racers. I can't remember who the other two were, but they had 3
the Cowboys drivers.
Coach. No, the NASCAR driver. Jeez.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it was super fun. It was super fun. I thought it was just like a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, neat.
Hold on, let me get the names of the dudes that drove. It was Hendrick Motorsports was the team, right? Jensen Button.
Yeah,
Mike Rockenfeller.
Yeah, so Jensen is a long-time Formula One driver. Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, Thomas, what you got?
Just a little note. I'm not sure if you saw. I mean, obviously, that Messi's been in the news quite a bit, talking about a transfer into MLS. Did you see the statement that Barcelona put out when he agreed to terms to come to Miami? I'm gonna read it to you a little bit, right? So this was posted on June 7th, so 8 days ago from this time of recording. On Monday, June 5th, Jorge Messi, the player's father and representative, informed club president Joan Laporta that the player's decision to join Inter Miami, despite having been presented with a proposal from Barca, in consideration of the desire of both FC Barcelona and Lionel Messi for him to once again wear the Blaugrana. President Laporta understood and respected Messi's decision to want to compete in a league with fewer demands, further away from the spotlight and the pressure he has been subject to in recent years. Both Joan Laporta and Jorge Messi also agreed to work together to promote a proper tribute from Barca fans to honor a footballer who has been, is, and always will be beloved by Barca. And the headline FC Barcelona wishes Lionel Messi the best of luck in his new professional phase.
Wow. Jeez.
Unbelievable.
Holy smokes.
This guy's probably the best football player in the history of the world.
Yeah.
He's beloved by your club. He was there for dozens and dozens of trophies, including, okay, we just mentioned Man City, like, congratulations on the treble. There was a year that Barcelona won 6 trophies in one calendar year. 6, Nate, in 1 year. Xavi's Blaugrana, that generation, it is, you know, for decades to come, will be regarded as one of the best soccer teams of all time. And Barca's just shitting all over him, like, oh, I guess you don't want to come back, so good luck in your new phase in a league that's not as good. So on its face, this is a hilarious statement to make about the player. What's going on behind the scenes is that Barca wouldn't have been able to pay him or sign him even if he had decided that he wanted to go back to Barcelona. They're in such a heap of trouble with contractual obligations and administration and all that dumb shit. Like, there was absolutely no guarantee that whatever offer Barcelona put on the table, they'd actually be able to confirm. So, like, you know, do you want maybe or do you want definitely? And, you know, you can't throw shade at a guy for picking definitely. It was unbelievable. It's so shocking. You talk about a fan base that's fed up with the front office. Like, the fans of Barcelona are ready to run this guy out of the country. It was crazy. So yeah, if you didn't see that, I guess now you've heard about it. So, I mean, it's more or less official, right? Inter Miami is going to get him. Was I hearing from you that the league, MLS, was like pitching in some funds or some perks to entice him to come sign?
Yep. They gave him a cut of all new Apple TV Plus MLS subscriptions.
It doesn't seem right.
The team that they just took away GAM, TAM, and a DP spot for breaking roster rules, they just bent over backwards to bring a player, which furthers the argument that MLS is a retirement league.
Yeah.
It's nice that he's here. It'll be fun. He'll be here for a year or two. He'll get the shit kicked out of him. He'll have a rookie UCLA player that is making $60,000 a year take his legs out, and something bad will happen, or it won't, and it's fine. And like, I'm just frustrated that the MLS is going this direction. If you want to do this kind of thing, then open up the rosters, right? Just let LAFC and Sounders and the Galaxy and New York, just buy all the players and just make it a top-heavy league and let them beat each other up. But you've developed this really cool thing where the teams are competitively balanced, right? And you make special rules for special players. Like, I don't like that. And, well, and it feels like the same thing with LAFC and what's his name?
Vela?
The dude last year.
Bale.
LAFC and Gareth Bale. Like, he came over and played for them for gym memberships. Like, what the hell, right? And I don't know. It's when we have a squad in Seattle that is built properly and is under pretty high constraints because they have so many good players they've grown internally or found externally, like, it just makes me sick that LA and Miami and
I mean, rules. I'm gonna have to look into that and understand the detail of it. On its face, if it's true, it's difficult to understand how the league could help entice a player to come who's going to provide a competitive advantage against all the other teams. That's like way more tampering than, like, I don't know, a referee that's betting on games.
Luckily, they're the worst team in the league.
It's it's going to be incredible to be able to see him play regularly. His talent is unbelievable, and he still has so much left in the tank, especially for a league like MLS. He's going to be able to really make a big impact. And it's too bad if what you said is the complete and total truth. It's too bad that it's, like if they beat you because he's brilliant and he's here because the league paid him, should that count as a loss? I don't know. Whatever. We have a turf field. I'm sure he won't play here, so it's fine for us, but it's still dog shit.
Yeah, is he gonna play on turf? I don't
I
know.
don't know. Interesting. It'll be awesome
Turf
to see him
fields are
play,
nice.
but yeah, I've got mixed feelings about it. It's interesting too. I've talked a lot over the years with you, Nate, specifically about how impressively the league office has made decisions which were, on the surface, they were hard to understand, and it's like, oh man, come on, they want to be bigger. Why do they keep making these small-minded decisions? But they grew the league from nothing into something really big, really competitive, and really stable, and that's impressive. And for me, coming into this season, the streaming deal with Apple TV was fucking horrible, and it was shocking how horrible it was. And so for me, this is kind of decision 2 in short order that's headed in the opposite direction.
Yeah, you could decide to go the other direction. Who was that Italian player that was with Toronto for a while?
The
very
ant, the atomic ant.
So
Why can I remember his English nickname, but I can't remember his Italian surname?
Like, why not go get those players? Go get the
Giovinco.
Giovinco. Go to the 22, 23-year-old players that aren't already going to start in Bundesliga.
But you are getting a lot of those players. You are getting a lot of the young 20 to 23-year-old South Americans to come up, right? And in guys like we know in Lodero and Rui Diaz, you're getting, and Joao Paulo, you're getting the South American pros at the 26, 27, 28, like the golden years of their career. You're getting these players. You're doing fine. You don't need Messi.
I'm just disappointed. It's like you said, another curious decision.
Yeah. Hey Nate, what you got?
Got a couple food ones for you. So I hear stories about people like crushing like 12 or 13 tacos, right? And I've never been one to eat Taco Bell tacos, but I happened to cross Taco Bell tacos the other day, and I had 3 of them, and I was like, that'll be fine. You could crush like 38 of those things. Like, not even joking. Like they go down so easily.
One bite at a time. They come out pretty easy too.
Yeah. Feels like they're just made of air, man. Like I was not satisfied after 3. I thought it was enough, but there's no way. So I fully understand now that you can crush multiple Taco Bell tacos.
That's why they have that party pack. There's like a 20 pack on the menu.
Should have got it. It's funny though, like Taco Time tacos, the crunchy ones, like 3 is fine. Like does the job.
Yeah, but it's like I'd rather go to like the Capitol Grill, than go to Taco Time. It's about the same price.
Probably. It's like $58 every time I go there. It's
fuck.
And then trail mix. I love trail mix.
I love trail mix.
And I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite part of trail mix?
Ooh. Am I on the couch or am I on the trail?
Let's say it's like an afternoon snack or work or like hanging out or just need to pick me up.
So I'm going to give you the contrarian answer. Dried fruit. Raisins and cranberries.
That's mine too.
Really?
I actually, the other day, I bought a trail mix pack from Costco, which is it was a great trail mix.
Yeah. Oh, and
well balanced. There's lots of cashews, almonds, all of that stuff. It's really great. It's like top notch. So if you go to Costco, get their trail mix, it's great. I went and bought dried cranberries, raisins, and dried cherries and added them in so it'd have like a higher mix of dried fruit.
Slamming.
Fuck, I love it.
Slamming.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
So the only thing you got to be careful about, like when you're on the trail, you got to mix in like peanut M&Ms or something because peanut butter is so calorically efficient. And then if you start mixing in chocolate and peanut butter, it's a little bit tougher to mix in the dried fruit. But fuck, man, I love a like a craisin.
Yeah, Craisins are legit.
Yeah.
They're really good in oatmeal.
God. Let's file this under conversations we didn't think we would have at any point in our life. Like, can you imagine like 15-year-old Nate being like, oh man, in 30 years, you're going to be talking about slamming some craisins because they're so good and full of antioxidants.
My favorite part of trail mix was when I was 15, it was chocolate. But yeah. Costco trail mix. Shameless plug for
Shout out Costco, local company.
Shout out Costco. All right, we'll be right back with Would You Rather and closing questions.
Yes, sir. Let's get right to it.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your Would You Rather? And then I got a bunch of random shit. My closing question there is random, and then my private is like all random.
Great. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. I got the Would You Rather this week. And, last week we talked about Teoscar and his woes and not performing to what we would hoped and, the difficulties of the Mariners right now. And I had a Seattle Mariners Would You Rather. So, first one. Would you rather Colton Wong or Adam Frazier?
2023 Adam Frazier that I don't know anything about, or 2022 Adam Frazier?
2023 Adam Frazier.
I don't care who's riding the bench. Neither of them are playing because Caballero is fucking a revelation.
Yeah. So just to go over it, Wong right now is a negative 1.3 WAR. Is a 153 batting average, no homers, 18 total hits, 9 RBIs.
Yikes.
OPS plus of 24.
How many ABs? How many PAs?
At bats 118.
Okay.
Adam Frazier.
How many at bats?
1.1 bar.
WAR. Bar is a measure of pressure. How many at bats?
216.
Okay, so about twice as many ABs.
8 homers, 230.
8 homers.
31 RBIs, 96 OPS plus. So he's like league average, right?
What the fuck? I mean, his year in Seattle will probably be the worst year of his career.
Yeah, I could look at it right now.
8 homers? What the
8
fuck?
homers. So he split 21 with Pittsburgh and San Diego. He was pretty good. He had an OPS plus of 126 in Pittsburgh and an OPS plus of 86 in San Diego. He had an OPS plus of 80 in Seattle. 238. He had 3 total home runs, 42 RBIs. So he's almost beating his output already from last year.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Where is he this year?
Baltimore.
Fucking Baltimore.
Okay. So we talked a little bit in the preseason about the players that we wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do Would You Rather Teoscar Hernandez or a player that we previously had or wanted. So Would you rather Teoscar Hernandez or Mitch Haniger?
Teo. I mean, Haniger's been
WAR.
He's been hurt.
11 home runs, 249 batting average, OPS of 721. It's come up quite a bit from the previous few weeks. OPS plus of 103 right now. So he's league average right now. Getting there. Mitch Haniger. He has been hurt. He has 148 ABs, 230 batting average, 4 home runs, OPS plus of 78. So negative 0.3 WAR, right? I really wanted Michael Conforto. So would you rather Teoscar Hernandez or Michael Conforto?
Ooh. I'm not dialed in, but I know the Mets are really scuffling.
He is on San Francisco. He was the guy I wanted to sign.
Shows you how much attention I'm paying to the National League.
He was the guy I wanted to sign. San Francisco gave him a 2-year contract. Most people weren't. They gave him an out after the first year. It was like
because he was coming off an injury in 20.
Yeah, he had like a fractured kneecap or something like that. So people were like really, really cautious. So Teo again, 0.6 WAR, 103 OPS plus. Michael Conforto, 0.6 WAR, 116 OPS plus. About the same across, a little bit higher batting average. same RBIs, 12 home runs for Conforto, 11 home runs for Teoscar. So it would have been really a wash, right?
Yeah, except that you could have had them both. So I understand the spirit of
Yeah,
your
you could have
question,
had
but
both,
there's
yeah.
no reason we couldn't have had them both.
Right. And I was going to do Conforto and AJ Pollock, but that would have been unfair.
How many at-bats does
okay.
Pollock have? Like 22?
So
No, I think, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with Teo. I like Teo's calming presence. He strikes out way the fuck too much. But you gotta trust in his career numbers. So I'm happy with that.
Somebody that you really liked.
Mm.
Would you rather Teoscar Hernandez or Brandon Nimmo?
The main reasons that I was really interested in Nimmo is because I didn't think we had a natural leadoff hitter, and I still don't, even though JP is, man, what a soldier this guy is. I think Nimmo fills a need for another left-handed bat. I think he plugs in the outfield, although he is a left fielder.
Center field.
I mean, well, between Teo and Nimmo and Kelenic and Julio, you figure it out. It would have been tough to have him and Teo, whereas with Conforto, it would have been easy to see them both. Mm-hmm. What do his numbers look like?
2 WAR, 256 at bats. So Teo had 257. 6 home runs, 289 batting average, 29 RBI, 815 OPS, 128 OPS plus.
Yeah, I mean, Nimmo's a dude. If I had to choose between those two, I would take him. I think you can fill in a good clubhouse presence and an outfield bat, but Nimmo's got a couple extra tools I think that are tougher to find.
All right.
And with enough expenditure, you could have had both of them too, right? You knew that you're only committing 1 year to Teo, and you knew before the season began, his arbitration was going to be somewhere between 13 and 15 mil. So you could have gone out and given Nimmo a decent deal, but you were never going to give him the deal the Mets gave him. So
yeah, and that's where it's hard. It probably would have been either or. I don't think you get Brandon Nimmo if you have Teoscar Hernandez on the team. I was going to look this up and I forgot to. Oh. Who's the outfielder? Is he down in Double-A now?
Cade Marlowe?
Yeah. Oh, there he is. Okay. All right. Would you rather AJ Pollock or Taylor Trammell?
Ooh. I don't feel like I am enough of a baseball guy to answer this question, because the question that you're asking is, do you have to give the veteran more at-bats for him to get going, or are you willing to have a longer leash on a young guy that's struggling? That's the question that you're asking, and I don't know. You're not going to have Pollock on this team much longer. I'd be surprised if he sees the year out. And so I think by default, the answer is Trammell, because you feel like you've got something there. But outside of literally his first swing when he came back, he fucking sucked. So, Jerry and Justin both were saying like, oh, you got to be patient. He didn't have a spring training. Okay. That's a factual statement. But he's got to show that he can go and get his groove back and be a contributor, or else neither of them are going to be helpful.
Would you rather AJ Pollock or Cade Marlowe? So Cade Marlowe is another outfield prospect that was highly touted coming out of spring. You know what he's doing? You want to know what he's doing in the minors?
But I don't need an outfielder, Nate. I need a bat.
I know. I'm just saying.
So you're cherry picking a young outfielder that's already in the organization, when you don't need AJ Pollock to be an outfielder. You just need another bat. What are Marlowe's numbers?
I'm just saying there's people on the 40-man that could be brought up that could probably be as effective as a platoon player. where you're not really concerned with them being an answer long term, and you get them work, right? Like Zach DeLoach, right? He's tearing it up in the minors right now. Like, why not give him a shot? See what happens. He's 24. I don't think he's not a top prospect. Like, get rid of some of the dead weight and bring up some kids just to give them periodic playing time. It can't hurt. Put them on the big roster.
Do you think that they're not bringing them up so as to avoid the risk of having them decrease their value ahead of the deadline?
Yes.
You say yes?
Yeah. I think that's, Taylor Trammell's value is probably fairly low right now, but he still has a ton of talent. I really would like to see if he was given a chance to start 10 or 15 games in a row to see what he would do. Like if there was an injury chance,
Yeah, it's tough, man, because with the offensive woes, you can't lock that type of commitment in,
and he's also an injury risk,
Yeah.
So I'm going to finish it out by you picking a number between 1 and 100.
Let's go 56. Shout out, Bobby.
56. Would you rather your kids wear a uniform to school or a clothing of their choice?
Clothing of their choice?
It's weird. I'm on the fence, actually, about that. Like, uniform, you don't, nobody has the advantage over anyone else.
Yeah, but no one can really be expressive.
True. Yeah, that's why I always say I'm on the fence about it. Like there are unfortunate people. Huh?
What kind of fence?
Probably not chain link. That would be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Let's say a rock wall.
Electric?
No, thank you. I'm just saying there's some kids are less fortunate and can't wear as fancy clothes and shoes and all that stuff, and like uniforms balance the playing field. But yes, you are unable to be expressive. You can accessorize, but
if you were wearing a school uniform, Nate, how would you accessorize it?
Yeah, grow a funky beard.
Oh my God! Did you see the Yankees had a bat boy? So I'm fairly certain that when you're you're on the road, like the home team assigns you a bat boy, and they have to like wear your uniform and all that kind of stuff. I don't know where they were, but the bat boy that got assigned to them was this sorry, this podcast is not for children. This guy looked like a child molester. He had like a gnarly mustache and like long hair, and the Yankees broadcast kept putting him on camera like, you can't look like that wearing a Yankee uniform, because they have fucking rules about that shit. Yeah. And the next night he like had his hair up inside of his batting helmet.
Do other teams around the world have rules about like facial hair and stuff that you know
of? None that I know of, but I'm sure probably in Japan the NPB probably has some guidelines. I think that's a bit more of a cultural thing, but
the Yankee thing just bugs me. I talked to our friend of the pod.
It bothers the shit out of me too. I mean, how like you couldn't do that in EPL. You have people coming from every fucking country. You can't say like this is allowed and this isn't allowed. Like just come exist in the world in our league. It's totally an American thing.
Yeah, I talked to our friend of the pod, and he said there are players that have been traded there that refuse to sign because of those rules. Like they would go for the, finish out their contract and then leave.
Wow.
And people wouldn't sign there because of the rules.
Yeah.
Also. Which I think is interesting. There are some people that are just chills for the money. Scott Boras clients.
Fucking Boras.
Fucking Boras.
Shout out Nemo. Shout out Conforto.
Yeah, Conforto.
Cool. So I got a little basketball one. Friend of the pod, Kaylee, was just kind of thinking about a little basketball thing the other day. So mathematically speaking, There are some baskets in basketball worth 1 point, some worth 2, and some worth 3. So the winner of the game is not always the team that scores the most baskets. I bet in the NBA it is usually the team that scores the most baskets because there isn't a huge style disparity between Team A and Team B, right? Yeah, probably happens occasionally. But I wonder what levels of basketball that would be more common at. I would think it would have to be college because there's enough teams that are at a high enough skill level, right? The volume of teams would mean that it would be more common for like a drive and dish team compared to like a shoot it from outside team would be more likely to play each other, you know? And the skill level's high enough where they'd be able to execute it. Like you feel like in high school, maybe one team, all they want to do is shoot threes, but like they fucking suck. You know?
I bet Golden State's had a few instances where they made the least amount of buckets but won.
Yeah,
If
like
they
Stephen Clay
shoot
just
the lights out.
draining threes,
Yeah.
and the other team lost, like scoring 1s and 2s. It's interesting, isn't it?
It'd be interesting if you could look it up.
That's probably exists somewhere. It'd be interesting to see what Brian thinks next week. I got a couple randos just to kind of close this out here in closing questions. First one: pirates or ninjas?
Pirates.
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with me? It's cool. You're swashbuckling on the open sea.
Yeah, you got
man.
fucking scurvy and one leg.
I mean, not if you just like eat some fruit.
Nate, what fruit grows back legs?
I mean, pirates were in the Caribbean, so they could pause and stop at a fucking island that has like coconuts and oranges and lemons and limes.
And that's gonna grow back their legs?
I mean, no, they can avoid scurvy.
It's ninjas.
Do you
all
know
the way.
why? Do you know why the new theory that came out? Why some pirates wore eye patches?
I haven't heard anything about this.
Oh, because when they were on
who,
top
who,
deck,
who is this theory?
I don't know. Well, I read it on Twitter, so who knows if it's true or not. But there is a theory that some of them wore eye patches, but they didn't have a bad eye. They wore eye patches for if they ever got into a fight. One eye was calibrated for the bright sun, and one eye was calibrated for below deck, so they could switch the eye patch over below deck and be able to see right away.
Plausible.
Which would be really cool, like if that's the case.
Plausible.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, in naval warfare, especially in those days, usually you had at least like a 8 or 10 minute notice where you might have to go below deck and fight.
Maybe.
Anyway. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, something about being on a boat.
Wearing flippy floppies?
Yeah, sure. Probably
Straight.
not if I'm a pirate.
Flipping
One leg.
copies. Yeah, how would you put a flippy floppy on your peg leg?
Just nail it.
Fuck. I would the mental image of like a cartoon pirate with like one of those shitty like pedicure flip flops like nailed to it.
Ninjas are cool. You're a solo, right? You're secretive. You're like sneaking around. I'm thinking of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon for some reason. I should watch that movie.
Oh,
If it holds up.
wow. Man, I haven't seen that. I probably haven't seen that since the theater. That is an interesting one, maybe to go back and revisit. There's probably a lot of like really interesting, well done artistic bits of that movie that just went over our heads as teenagers. Also,
like reading the subtitles is easier probably now than it was back in the day because we were short attention spans, you know. But also like women as like the protagonist, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, kind of want to go back and check it out.
What was your first car?
Oh, well, it's complicated. So I drove like a '76 Volvo for a little while.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, that's your first car. It wasn't the one that you owned, but it was like the first car that you drove regularly.
Right. I kind of want to take you through my like hilarious cardom up until like what I think is my first official car. So drove a Volvo. My parents convinced me to loan it to my brother to take to college, and so I got his 81 Dodge Ram, which was like lifted and massive. And then my other brother took it and rolled it going out of a wheat field, which is pretty funny. My parents then bought a new car and then let me drive an 84 Plymouth Voyager minivan. And I had that for like 6 or 8 years. I had a beanbag chair in it when I was going to college, and like would go out and chill in there. And,
Oh man,
we would go into fields and drink, and yeah.
There you go. I had the first car that was kind of allocated to me. It wasn't mine. It was a '84 Toyota pickup. So I feel like I mentioned this to Liz earlier. So she was born in '86, and her first car was in '85. I was born in '83. My first car was '84. You were born '80, and your first was a '77. Like, that's got to be an interesting thing. Like, the first car that you drove was about the same age as you, right? Do you feel like kids these days are having that experience?
Oh, that's hilarious, because Jamal just gave his Lancer to my buddy's kid.
Didn't he wreck that? I thought that thing was wrecked.
He just never kept it up. So I mean,
no, didn't it get like sideswiped in the alley when y'all lived in Georgetown? No, that was your car.
That was my car.
Oh yeah.
My car got destroyed.
Yeah.
And so that was 2000, and the kid was born in 2005.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's funny. What's your favorite smell?
Man, like summer rain. It's pretty fucking good. It just smells different. Coffee.
A little cliche, but I know you, and it's a good smell.
Yeah, baking bread. I mean, I get a different olfactory experience from coffee than I think a lot of other people do.
True.
So like when I get a new coffee, like that Onyx Ethiopian that smelled like blueberries, blows my mind. But I think summer rain, like when you smell that first summer rain of the year, it is really special.
I've got two. I think
ocean. God, there's so many good smells.
Ocean?
Forest. Yeah. Not like tide pool ocean. Like fresh, crisp ocean on the beach.
Fresh cut grass. Is one.
Yeah, that's a legit one.
And cedar in the workshop. Cedar sawdust.
Yeah, cedar's great. Sawdust in the fall, like it's like a memory. Whenever I smell sawdust in the fall, like in the crisp air, like I think of my parents, because we would like get wood and chop it for the winter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, nice. That's what I got, man. That's everything.
That felt fast, but it wasn't really fast.
No,
it's great.
We've been here for like 90 minutes.
Fuck. You should go back and look at some of the Le Mans stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. That is really interesting. I mean, we got together and decided to do this podcast because we thought it might be fun to talk to the people, and every now and then we get each other. So yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that.
Yep. Cool.
Good shit, man.
Well, yeah. Thanks for coming out.
Yep.
Shout out Brian.
Shout out Brian.
Hopefully you had a good golf outing today.
He was golfing today? What a dick.
Yeah, taking clients, I think, or something.
Oh no, there was something I forgot. Can I close with something?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it. I don't even remember what streaming platform it was on. Snoop Dogg is doing ads for Jack in the Box. Okay, interesting. The premise of this ad campaign is that Jack in the Box like lured him to do ads for them, which he would not ordinarily do, because they're giving him an assistant, and the assistant is named Mitch. And Snoop Dogg calls him Mitch. because Mitch rhymes with bitch. And so there's like a whole ad campaign now about like, shut up, Mitch.
That's funny.
It's fucking amazing. So
Oh,
shout
good
out to all you
job.
mietches out there.
Oh man, Jack in the Box has good ad campaigns. Well, thanks everybody. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for
Everybody,
joining.
peace out, yo. Shout out, Flip. Shout out, Kaylee.
Shout out to the people. Appreciate you hanging out, listening. Let us know what you think. Let us know. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
I gotta find the
Say goodnight to YouTube.
my YouTube.